Дойче Думков, ты еще увидишь, как из-за твоей продажной глупости, Анна-Лена Бербок, Берлин будет гореть.
Надо как-то сделать так, чтобы американские солдаты начали гибнуть.
Да мы сотрем в порошок Варшаву и Вильнюс.
Почему мы признаем Францию в ее границах?
Как я хочу посмотреть, чтобы Урсулиха фон дер Ляля корчилась с куском беспилотника в глотке.
Когда на сегодняшний день мы говорим, что война будет безъядерной, мы, наверное, лукавим.
По количеству на душу населения, правда, Канада ее опережает, но Америка – это мировая держава победила.
Я сейчас требую спалить Берлин.
Welcome to another episode of Russian Hate Speech, where we break down the most absurd and dangerous rhetoric emerging from Russia's propaganda machine. Let's start with Russian propagandist Vladimir Solovyov and his recent message to Europeans.
The experience of generations must be taken into account. Every time we don't finish you off, you regroup, and twice every century, you attempt to destroy us. You're missing the point. We'll have to catch up with you.
Next, we turn to Russian political commentator Dmitry Kulikov, who doesn't just stop at criticizing Europe, he calls its leadership an occupying force.
There are no Europeans, and in general, it is a term coined specifically for another form of occupation of Europe. It emerged exactly during the transition from the coal and steel community to the European Union. The administration of the European Union functions as an occupying administration, yet another chain around the necks of these countries.
So, according to him, the European Union is nothing more than an occupying force. The idea is to portray European leaders in a negative, demonizing light. This is part of the Kremlin's strategy to discredit anyone who supports Ukraine. Finally, let's listen to a statement from Russian politician Yuri Afonin, who reiterates from Kremlin's claim that peace can only come through territorial conquest and military dominance.
From the perspective of Russia, we are, of course, a peace-loving people. But we fully understand that peace can only be achieved through victory in the special military operation. How can we envision a scenario where Kharkiv, Odessa, or other regions like Chernihiv and Sumy on the border with Russia fall under NATO's influence? The presence of NATO troops there would pose a mortal threat to future generations of our country's citizens.
Here, Afonin tries to justify Russia's war on Ukraine by portraying it as an act of defense against NATO. By framing Ukraine's proximity to NATO as an existential threat, Afonin manipulates public fear, convincing Russians that the invasion of Ukraine is necessary for their survival. Also, this is a prime example of the Kremlin's doublespeak, using the language of peace and justify violence. So, what do we see here? The Kremlin's rhetoric remains entrenched in a dangerous mix of historical revisionism, victimhood, and the normalization of violence. By twisting reality, these propagandists are ensuring that Russian aggression continues to be framed as defensive, all while maintaining control over their domestic audience and stoking mistrust abroad. That's all for today's episode of Russian Hate Speech. Remember, it's crucial to stay aware of how propaganda distorts the truth and spreads dangerous ideologies. Stay informed, and we'll see you next time as we continue to unravel the Kremlin's war on truth.